Morning. So we'll start the today's session. Uh, right. So we start the today lesson where we have left last time about the financial institution management T2. We will continue from where we have stopped. Right now, before that, so I just want to give you some something some thing what we have learned last time. Right now we have discussed last week where are we now. That's the situational analysis part, right? And under situational analysis what we have discussed last time, we did a strategic analysis. Right now, strategic analysis mean basically um, analyzing your own organization. Now, that is what you call internal environmental analysis, right? About your organization. Now, environment, as you are aware, can be divided into three components. Your business environment. One is your own organization environment. That is what you call internal environment. And the environment which is more close to your internal environment, we call them as a micro environment, where your competitors, your customers, and your industry environments are the main components. And the external environment further divided into micro and macro. Macro mean more or less the uncontrollable variables like political, economic, social, cultural, technological factors. Now, when we are preparing our strategic plan, we need to analyze all these three environments. That is what you call strategic analysis, right? Strategic analysis. Now, that is what we last time we discussed. In order to uh, find out our present situation, or we call them as a strategic analysis, we did two things. One is internal audit, other one is external audit, right? I'm just summarizing, recapitulate previous class, right? What we have learned: internal audit and external audit. Okay, so under internal audit, what we have learned under internal audit, we learn three things. One is resource audit, value chain analysis, and functional analysis under internal audit, right? So I'm just again going to brief what we have learned. Now, in order to find out our situation, where my organization at the moment, suppose your bank is at the moment. So for that, we did two types of audit. One is internal audit, external audit. Under internal audit, what are the things we are going to look at it? We look at it three audits. So three type of scanning. One is resource audit, value chain analysis, and functional analysis. So I try to give you a small uh, summary of what is resource audit. Any organizations need to understand or need to obtain a competitive edge. What do you mean by a competitive edge? Competitive edge means what your bank is having different than against your competitor, right? So what is your bank is competitive edge than your competitor? What are the special features your bank is having? For that, we can use resource audit. Now, famously we have a three type of resources. One is physical resources, like your locations, the number of branches you have, how good your technology is, how your machines, buildings, all how many branches are belong to you, and things like that. Those are physical resources, right? And then you look at another type of resources, human resources, like your employees, the training of your employees in knowledge, competencies, experiences, your human resources are, right? What are the strengths and weaknesses of your physical resources? What are the strengths and weaknesses of your human resources? You do a audit for these areas. Third one is organizational resources. That means we look at it to what extent your information system in your organization is good, and the reputation or goodwill and the patent right, brand names, right? Um, uh, so what is your organization resources point of view? So we look at it, these three resources to understand resource audit: resource physical, human, and organizational resource. The second internal audit we are going to look at is value chain. Now, value chain is basically, we look at it, the how your organization, how your bank is delivered your final output, right? Inbound logistics, these are primary activities: operations, outbound logistic, marketing, sales, services. In order to perform, what do you mean by inbound logistic here? Say for an example, your inputs, and inputs through operation you converted to output, that is your provide service. And to what extent you use your marketing and sales to sales your financial product, right? So that is the main primary activities. Any organization for that matter is carrying out these primary activities. Then you look at it, in order to perform all these primary activities, what are the supportive activities horizontally is given for your procurement, technology, human resource, firm infrastructure. We call them as supportive activities. In all that means, in order to perform your primary activities, what is the your organizational supportive activities given, right? Through audit, what we are trying to do is, through value chain analysis, we try to find it out where we have problem, whether it's a technology. In order to perform our primary activities, what are the problems we are facing from supportive activities? Whether procurement, in terms of recruiting people, recruiting items, technology mean your core banking solution, new things, your resources, right? Your infrastructure, all these having some problem to perform this primary activity. We see where our strengths and weaknesses are this. That is what you call value chain analysis. And the third analysis, we call them as functional analysis. Now, functional analysis means understand your functional areas. What are your strengths and weaknesses about your functional area? Any organization consists of different departments or different activities or departments or divisions like marketing, finance, human resources, operation, research and development, culture for your organization. Those are functional analysis. That means basically you look at it, whether your marketing is weak, whether your finance is not good, whether your human resource department is weak, your operations people are weak, like branch managers and things like that, and you don't have research and development for say. Like that, you look at it, what are your functional areas? Now, through carrying out these internal audit, what we are trying to do, we basically try to do to see whether what are we are good at. That is what you call internal audit, right? Now, for that, as I told you, we said where we are now. We discussed about the situational analysis, right? Remember? Now, what we are going to analyze? Your external environment, your internal environment, right? For that, we carried out internal audit and external audit. So internal audit mean what? That means three types of audit. One is resources audit, value chain audit analysis, and functional analysis. Right? Now, what you mean by resource audit mean? So what are the resources you're good at? What are the weak areas of these your resources? And then you look at it value chain. analysis, right? And then you look at it functional analysis. So that is one way we look at it from the internal audit. And then we move into, can you remember, we discussed external audit. What are the external audit we discussed? The main things we discussed, pestle analysis, very famous one, right? When we discuss what is pestle analysis, why it is important, what is pestle stand for: political, economic, social, technological, economic, environmental, and legal factors. How these factors are impact your businesses. How these are, we call them as, these factors are uncontrollable variable. So if you cannot control, you have to live with this, right? Okay. And then we discuss SWOT analysis. Can you remember? We discuss SWOT mean basically both external and internal as well, right? Now, strength and weaknesses of your internal organization, opportunities and threat you are facing, external environment. We'll discuss what is SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis, I told you, is like a balance sheet. At any given time, this is your organization. Look at it. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities, and what are your threats? So we compare between pestle and SWOT, right? Can you remember? We discussed the difference between pestle analysis and SWOT analysis. So, so SWOT analysis, then we discuss external techniques, what you call Porter's 5 forces analysis. I think you can remember, right? Bargaining power of suppliers, bargaining power of customers, entry of new entrants, rivalry factors, and threat of substitute, right? So we discussed some example. We took an example from the telecommunication, and we took example from bank, and how you analyze your uh, external environment, especially for competitor analysis, right? So that we use Porter's 5 forces analysis. These are, we call techniques. We call them as techniques, right? How to evaluate your external audit. And then we discuss, after that, having understood that, right, what is the next point we discuss? Okay, what are the strategies we can use? But we not discuss in more detail. What we discuss, there are 3 types of, what you mean by a strategy? Strategy is basically, I'm going to explain how to achieve your objectives and goals, right? Now, type of strategies, we discuss corporate strategies, and we discuss business strategies and functions. I told you we have a separate strategies we call expansion strategies, that we are going to discuss later on, right? And then we discuss further, the last part is strategy review and evaluation and control, right? Now, for that part, we discuss what are the basic activities of review, implementation, reviews, and controls. And then we discuss what are the difficulty we face as an organization when you evaluate your own strategy. And then we discuss what are the strategic evaluation techniques. And then we discuss key performance indicators, right? So we discussed last time, right? And then we discuss what are the guidelines for establishing a good KPIs. KPIs mean key performance indicators. And we discuss balance scorecard, right? Is a strategic evaluation technique. So there we have stopped the last time, right? Today we'll continue from that point onwards. And what is the nature of key performance indicators? Now, why corporate plan need KPIs, key performance indicators? Basically, so how do you know whether we have achieving our goals and objectives, plan goals? So for that, we need to find it out. Actual again, our determine goals, plan goals. For that, we need key performance. That is why we need key performance, right? Now, usually key performance indicator is a quantifiable measure. So we are not going to measure more or less a qualitative, but key performance measure, because we can easily see, right? It's usually a quantifiable in nature and can be a numeric number or ratio. That means, say for an example, profit. What is a liquidity ratio, or what is the profits you are going to generate? So it should be basically a financial indicator, numerical indicator. And we discussed this part as well. It may be vary from organization to organization. KPIs, key performance indicators, may be vary from organization to organization, and also often relevant certain industry standards and benchmark. Now, say for an example, there's an industry standard. Now, asset quick asset ratio, then there's a standard 1 to 2%, like liquidity ratio, right? Something like those are standard. We always measure with the standards, and sometimes we look at from the industry figures. Say NPL ratio, we look at it, your NPL ratio against the industry, other, what is the other banks NPL ratio. So therefore you can get an idea. Suppose now NPL ratio industry, that means other banks may be having 4%. If you are having 7-8% in your bank, what do you mean by that? That means something wrong. Something is, you are giving wrong loans. You are not follow it up like that, right? So I think you have learned under under liquidity risk management. You may learn all these things under credit risk management. You have learned all these things. So KPI is for these are the ways. Now KPI is strategic plan. SPP means strategic planning process, and we need to have a bench, because these are the benchmark which we can measure the current performance, right? Okay, then now a lot of business leaders may rely upon this KPI because they can take some some corrective actions. And also sometimes you see KPI will indicate the performance of the institution, whether it is your strategy plan is success or not, right? Sometimes your bonuses, your increments are maybe subjected to key performance indicator. And this is a very famous examiner's question. The examiner will ask you what you understand by KPI. That means key performance indicator, right? Why it is important, right? How it benefits to strategic planning. Why it's become a important tool of a strategic plan, right? Now those things are important exams point of view. That is why I'm again repeating this time also. And what are the example, as I told you earlier? So as you can measure your ROI, right? Your return on equity, how many branches you expanded, right? Then non-forming loan percentage, what is your deposits, capital adequacy ratios, right? All things you can use as a example of KPI where most numbers are numerically you can measure simply, right? So that is KPI, which I have already discussed last time, but I just put it again during today as well. Okay, now there's another important area. Sometimes the examiner can ask this area as well. How human resource function design in the corporate plan. Or sometimes the examiner can ask, what is the role played by human resource function uh, implementing your corporate plan? Now, who prepared the corporate plan? Right? Who prepared the corporate plan? Right? You know the corporate plan is prepared by usually human. Who going to implement this corporate plan? Also human, right? Okay, so human are the people who basically uh, prepare as well as um, who prepare this plan as well as implement, right? So therefore it is important. uh, uh, Human resource play an important role in corporate plan execution. Now corporate plan, human resources go hand in hand. That is why we are calling is going hand in hand, right? And it tells what organization is going to do. Okay, so therefore remember, uh, so um, you are, because as you know, we discussed very early, maybe 2 weeks back, strategic management or strategic plan is a cross-functional area. All cross-functional, sorry, all cross-functional areas consist of people. So you need to get the support from all the people who are working in your organization. So that is why human resource play an important role in your sorry, in your corporate management, corporate planning, right? And I think you will understand the role played by human resource in HR planning, right? And then we look at it another aspect, how budgets function assigned in the corporate plan. Right now, you know, the budget means how much of money we have allocated for execute our corporate plan, right? And so therefore budget also play an important link to the corporate plan, because strategic decisions and usually have financial implication. I will explain to you, because we are going to discuss later on. Suppose once you develop the strategies, you need money, right? From where you're going to get the money? So those things we are going to discuss uh, the latter part of this my subject, how we are going to fund your implementing your strategy. So for that we need budgets, right? So budget also become a part of corporate planning, like HR. HR will support. HR is basically a catalyst for executing your strategy plan. But budget is a part that also you need money to execute your strategies, right? And also, budget is basically support for you to spend, and it's a very strategic decision, right? Budgeting is a strategic decision, right? And also sometimes we may, sometimes we say budget is not enough. දැන් ඔය අපි කියන්නේ පරිපූර්ණක estimate the supplementary budget. Suppose the budget is not there, you get a new budget, right? Some you need some money. So therefore, remember, budgets play an important role, which give you some sort of a directions against for your strategies to be achieved, execute your strategy plan. So like manpower, budget also play an important role for your strategic plan. Okay, right. And then we are going to discuss something with you, and this is a very famous exam question, right? Why it is important to constantly review the strategic plan. Now, I told you the strategic plan we are usually preparing for 3 years, right? Now you see the environment is keep on changing. Environment is keep on changing. Now, sometimes we feel it 3 years also little longer, right? So therefore, we need to review the strategic plan maybe at least every year, right? So one reason is right, first questions now is a very famous examiner's question, why it is important to constantly review the strategic plan for your bank. One first point you need to write, strategic plans basically mostly developed for medium to long, that means maximum of 3 years, right? During this period, as you say, pestal conditions, that means political, economic, social, technological, environmental, legal conditions, the market situation, the industry behavior can change irrespective of time. Now, good example, you can put an example and say COVID-19. So we never expected for 6 to 4 months we are unlocked situation, right? So therefore, whatever we prepare strategy plan maybe not apply for the last couple of months, right? That's, you can always quote like that, right? Because environmental factors are keep on changing. So not only the external factors but also internal factors also changing. Suppose most of your employees, some of the employees may be vacate or maybe resign or maybe leave the organization, right, due to problems, maybe internal as well external problem you may see. So therefore, remember, so organization need to revisit organization future direction and to do necessary changes if need necessary, deemed necessary, right? Now, because of these factors, right, you need to take some corrective actions, right? Okay. So then, otherwise, what happened? If you have not flexible enough, or if you have not take some corrective action for changes taking place in the environmental because due to pestle or whatever factors, right? So your plan become unrealistic and also sometimes may be unreachable and unchallengeable. So therefore, it is important for you to constantly review your strategic plan, right? If you put these 4 5 points, is more than enough where you get 5 marks. Usually, I think last year also they have this question to my knowledge, right? Now you know this year you are going to combine both March and September. There's one exam for both years, right? So remember that. So why it is important to review the strategy plan. I hope you understood. Okay, right. And we go for the last part of this. Uh, in the tweet number 2, before we go to the tweet number 3, is very interesting and very important for not only for exam, for you as a banker and as an employee of a bank and as a general person, you need to understand the next part. Okay, now before that, we again moving to, so what are the problems? You now see the importance of strategy plan. It is very important business plan, and it is a compulsory plan by every financial institution to be developed internally. You can't get the support from outside, but it has to be developed by yourself, by the bank itself, according to the central bank as our our regulator. And they, I told you, they consist to all the bankers to prepare 3 types of plan. One is strategy plan, succession plan, what is the other part? BCP, that is business continuity plan. So it is very important. So having understood or having knowing the importance of strategic plan, but there are a lot of barriers for preparation of strategic plan. So let's look at it, some of the strategies. Now all things strategies are there, right? But you can put some more points where I'm going to explain apart from this, right? Okay, now these along with this, you can, when I'm telling you, just put in your same column, you put some other strategies. uh, One is management attitude, another one, right? Now leave this as it is and put another one. What are the problems or what are the issues faced by the strategy plan? So these are also accepted, but I will try to put it to a different angle. One is, you can say, management attitudes. But you see, strategy plan has to be prepared by, can you remember? I think you have already learned in your corporate governance, preparations of strategy plan. Whose responsibility? Your board of directors responsibility, right? That is why strategy plan involved, because it is a duty of a board of directors to approve your strategy plan. According, I think you have learned corporate governance, to my knowledge, by Dr. Muganathan. I think he has explained to you the importance of corporate. One factor is to approve your strategy plan. Now you see, what is the weightage given by the board of, but suppose the board of directors and your management attitudes, if they feel it is a cost cost exercise, time consuming, you know. I mean, you don't want to have a strategic plan to earn profits like that, and that is a major barrier, right? First one is management attitude, right? Okay, first point. Second point, maybe sometimes we people fear of failure. Now, once you develop your strategic plan, sometimes people think the strategic plan not work, fail. So then it is tarnish your board of directors as well as your CEOs and corporate management. So therefore, they need not to have a strategic plan. That's the second point. Third, sometimes we say, so you are trying to develop, you are basically called inclinations to the past. So you look at it, what you have done the past, you are going to continue with the same plan next 3 years as well. What you have developed last 3 years, you are going to do the same strategies during this year. Now you noted that last 3 years what we have done is maybe not applicable to now. So you have to come up with creative way. Remember the definition: creative art and science, right? So you have to look at it out of box. You have to come up with new strategies according to the requirement of the present circumstances, right? So, but some people are not just continue. Some put some figures and continue with the last one. That is another barrier for successful strategic planning. Other important thing is so risk awareness. Some people are not going to take the risk, so that's why they are continue with the old pattern. And sometimes you noted that your strategic planning is, especially this is basically happening in the government banks, it is not related to your performances and rewards, right? Whether you achieve your strategic planning or not, your employee will get the same salary what you have got last week or last time, right? That's what most of the state bank and also central bank also now telling state bank also to come up with the KPIs for people, and it has to be related to the performances versus reward. If performance need to be relevant to or related to your rewards, then you are trying to achieve your strategic plan. So these are another problem out of many other barriers here we have mentioned uh, in here, right? So these are the barriers of strategic plan. So from this point, we have just completed the tune number 2. Okay, right. Now, I don't know whether you understood now, Aputa. So, at the moment. So, okay. So, I'm very sad because only few students are usually coming, but then we need to. We heard that a lot of students will go through record versions, but it's always better to be take part the live one because it is always having an advantage, right? So next week, so I'm going now. This is the third week. I'm going to carry out with another 3 weeks. So next week I'll give you a questions which is appeared in all last 10 years exam paper pertaining to my subject. So we'll discuss the question and answers as well, right? I will email to you all the past question papers, questions basically for the last 10 years comes under my purview and we will discuss. And this is very interesting and also it is a must do because when you become a manager, as I told you one time, so you need to prepare a strategic plan for your branch. For that, you need to get an idea. Or once you become a AGM or senior manager or chief manager, so you need to understand, right? Okay. So now I'm just want to I just want to ask some of you all. You understood up to now what we have discussed. So how about Patum? You understood? I know it's difficult. I but then you can just put yes or no. Right. Okay. So I just get a sample and let's see whether you understood or not. Right. Okay. Right. So now we are trying to moving to the tune number 3. I hope you have in the tune as well. Okay. So we are going to discuss this very important area. A lot of questions are coming from this area in your handout. Right. Okay, just that is why it is important for you to just listen to me. You also play an important role for your strategic planning. So we will discuss question tune number 3. I think you all are having the tune number 3. Now before that, some of the things is not there, right? But I just give you to clarify certain things. And we discussed a little while ago. Every manager has 3 central questions. No, where are we now? So that for that, what are the what strategic planner do? So they do a situational analysis, or we do a strategic analysis. For strategic analysis, we use 2 techniques: internal audit and external audit. What are the techniques we use for internal audit? Resource audit, value chain analysis, and functional analysis. And then we do external audit. We carried out another techniques, what you call pestle analysis, SWOT analysis, and Michael Porter 5 forces analysis. Also, we discuss where are we now, right? And having understood my present position, my bank present position, what we are expecting, so we look at it, where do we want to be, right? That is my corporate objectives. So that of course we discuss very first day, starting from vision, mission, right? And then go corporate goals, and then objectives, like that, right? So we discuss that part. Now you know where you do we want to be, and we discuss where are we now. And also we discuss the next part. How will we how will we know if we get there? That is the strategic implementation part. Whether the strategy what we are used, right? We discussed very briefly strategies, corporate strategies, business strategies, and functional strategies. So these strategies are used to achieve your goals and objectives. So for that, we discuss how if you get there. So for that, we use KPIs. So whether we have reached our goals and objectives, right? And then you will remember all these things, what you need to look at it now. Okay, now we are going to discuss where are we now, where do we want to be, and how to get there. That is strategies. So that is we are going to discuss in more details, maybe this week and the next week, right? uh, okay, I'm just want to ask from you a small thing. Please help me. Have you done have you completed financial reporting? Not yet, or Miss Mrs. Catawal has done? Yes or no? Can you just send me a chat? Yes or no? Yes, you have done financial reporting, no? So that's I don't want to do. Good. Then have you done financial fraud? I think is Mrs. Fibert is usually is covering. I don't know whether you have done it or not. Not done. I think, huh? No, no idea. Uh, no idea. Right. Okay, doesn't matter. I think she's going to cover that part. Right. So then we back again to our tune, right? So where we have now, so we discuss all these things, right? Now what we are going to discuss, how do we get there, right? Now here we are going to look at it only the business expansion strategies. Now why we need to expand my businesses, what are the reason we need to increase my business, why banks need to improve your expand your business? One point is definitely that you understood, to improve your profits. or improved your sales or deposits or loans or whatever. Right? One thing is to improve in profits. Clear? So that is why we need to expand your business. Second, sometimes the self-actualization. Some people want, we want to expand my business for self-actualization. Atma Truptiyak nisa, right? Some people want to creating a monopoly. Why? For eliminating of competitors. For that, you can expand your business, right? And also sometimes you have identified there is a gap available in the market where nobody has fulfilled that gap in the market where the customers want, nobody is provide. So for that, we come up with a new business. That's another reason. And then maybe so you want to, when you're having your same business, so there is a chance of your business may be failure, you're really out. So you want to diversify in your businesses. For that also, you may expand your business to avoid risk management, right? Or maybe sometime we need to expand your business for survival purposes, or maybe due to economic of scale, or to capture more large market share. So there are some parties who are more interested about expand your businesses, right? Now there are some parties are expecting fewer banks to be expand. The one stakeholder is you. You mean as an employee. So why you need we are expecting your bank to expand? One factor is definitely the employees. Basically they look at it, better wages, if you organize your bank is doing well, perform well, so you can earn more profits and you can get bonuses and your salaries. That's the interest party. Another party is of course owners, or maybe the shareholders. Why shareholders want to expand? So they want to attract investors, they want to improve their earning per share, right? And for that, they also interest to expand your business. And another party who wants is basically is your customers. The customers also need more choices now, right? Then for expansions business. So satisfy customers. Then of course the community also expand. Why? The moment you expand your business, there is a business opportunities, and for them for employment opportunities. So that's another advantage for community. They think they will get a job, because the more you open branches, there's opportunity to recruit new people. So there's an opportunity. And also government also interested about your expansion, your business. One factor is they can earn more taxes from you, and it provide some job opportunities. So for thereby the unemployment issues they will address. So therefore there are some interested parties are interested about your business expansion, right? Okay, so reason for business expansion. Now how can you expand your business? That is what we are using strategies, right? That is what strategies planning are there. Now you understood why it is important for this, right? Now you can say why do. So if you want to go from here, where are we now, to where do we want to be, and then you may get an idea about strategies, right? So we are going to talk about expansion strategies. We call them as business expansion strategies. Now we discuss why we need to expand the business for various factors. Various stakeholders are interesting about expanding my business. For that, we need to come up with expansion strategies. That is why we are preparing business strategic plan. Okay, right. Now, how can you improve my businesses? Right, that is important. How can I improve my businesses? Right? Okay, so we call them now. There are different strategies. Sometimes some strategies we are using for just to retrenchment. That mean, just to maintain. Some strategies we are using for divestiture. Certain strategy we use to sell to survival purposes. But we are not going to discuss all these things. What we are concentrating only on expansion strategies. Vyaparya pulul kirime kramopai, nothing else, right? So we are concentrating on expansion strategies. Now let's look at it. Some of the expansion strategies we are going to discuss. We have identified five major type of expansion strategies. Now I'm going to explain you each and every strategy, right? First one we call concentration. Second, integration. Third, diversification. Fourth, internationalization. Fifth, cooperation. Right? So these are the five famous expansion strategies. Right. Now, which strategy to be used? I told you very beginning, strategies is costly. In order to implement strategies, we need what? Funds. We need money, right? So therefore, it is our duty to select. There are many such expansion strategies are available, but are we going to use all these strategies? We need to look at it. When you're selecting which strategy is best for my bank, so we need to look at it. Some bank may we need some expansion strategy out of five, not all. Some are using mixture of that, but the selection of expansion strategy is basically depend on three factors. Basically depend on three factors. Now, Johnson score and score, that is the latest strategy guru. Uh, their concept are presently used by world universities, including Jawaharlal and Colombo, MBA. All are used by this Johnson scores book, right? So, according to this Johnson and scores, here the two famous strategists, and they said the selections of your evaluating strategy depend on three fundamental factors. So three criteria. One is suitability. So that is the strategy. Now this strategy, how this strategy fitting to your organization. Some strategy may be not fitting to organization, not fitting to organization culture, like that. That's what you call the suitability, the its strategic position, and how you are fitting your strategy, but you're selected your organization. The feasibility is what you call is your capability. So that means, can you apply in a practice or real life situation? Now sometimes they come up with a nice strategy, but you cannot apply in the real life situation. So therefore, no point of come up with that expansion strategy. There's no feasibility, right? Third important point is acceptability. So that means, to what extent your stakeholders, like your investors, like your employees, like your management, like your board of directors, to what extent your stakeholders accept your strategies, the expectations of your stakeholders, and that is what you call acceptability. So when you're selecting the expansion strategy out of these five, you need to look at it all these three factors: suitability, feasibility, and acceptability. So then you're going to select which one is better. In order to select which one is better based on these three factors, you must now know what is these strategies all about, right? Okay, now I am going to explain with you what are the strategies we are going to discuss in details, in full detail. Clear? I hope you understood. Let me again. So we just to explain again why we need strategies. Every people expecting to improve your businesses, expand your businesses. Why you need to expand? There is a many reasons. One is because your shareholders expecting more revenue. Some board of directors, your owners are having some, some are unanduak ඇගේ උනන්දුවක් තියෙනවා කියලා කියන්නේ. And sometimes you want to create a monopoly situation. අපි විතරයි ඉන්න ඕනේ. So you have identified gaps in the market where nobody is fulfilled like that. You want to improve your large market share. There are due to these reasons, right? You need to expand your businesses. There are a lot of stakeholders who are interested to improve your business for various reasons, as I explained to you, why employees are important, why governments are, right? And then we discuss in order to expand, what are the type of strategies we are going to use, right? And this, I've told you, in order to select best strategy out of 5 or maybe combination, you need to look at it these 3 factors, right? Now we are going to discuss all these factors, right? Okay, now before I moving from here, I have understood anybody who's not understood, though everybody is understood. I need your support, Puta, because otherwise it's boring, right? You understood up to now, because this is very interesting area. There may be a lot of question is asked at the exam. Not only the exam, forget about the exam. This is important for your life. If you want to become a top guy in your bank, definitely you need to know all these things, right? Right, now you will look at it. What is basically, okay, have you understood, Gaumi? So I need your support, right? Feedback from you. Okay, right. So that means um, you understood the concept up to now. So what we have discussed now, as I tell again, so there may be we need why want to expand your business, and again many reasons. Some stakeholder happy, and in order to expand your business, what are the strategies you are going to use, and out of these 5, and when you're selecting the strategy, what are the factors or what are the criteria you need to look at it. We discuss suitability, feasibility, and acceptability. Right, now we are going to look at it one by one, these expansion strategies. First we'll take concentration strategies. So another name for concentration strategy mean intensive growth strategies, right? What do you mean by that? Intensive growth strategies, right? Now a business or the bank business that wants to increase business or sale to its target market, target customers, you can use intensive growth strategies or concentration strategies. So there are 3 types of intensive growth strategies. What are the type of intensive growth strategies? You can have 3 type of growth strategies. One is market penetration, second one is market development, third one is product development. Right, now what we are discussing now, as I told you, we have a 5 type of main growth strategies, so expansion strategies. First strategy is concentration strategy. Now another name for concentration strategy we call intensive growth strategies, where we are using our existing product and market to expand your business. So what are the 3 type of strategies comes under intensive growth strategy? We call them as market penetration, market development, product development. Right, now remember, this is day to day we as banks are using. When I explain to you certain things, using these things are we are using. Any organizations are using these three strategies. Okay, for that matter, I'll take the first strategy we call market penetration strategy. Now, what is market penetration strategy basically talking about? You are trying to, right, you are trying to expand your businesses, selling more products or provide more services to your existing customers, right? Nothing else. There are three ways you can do, right? That market penetrate means so you are winning is in single we call winning with the one. So what it basically is talking about, selling more your products to your existing customers, right? Selling your existing products and services to your existing customers by use of market penetration strategy. Now, how can you do that? You can do this thing in three ways. Now, one, selling more to your existing customers. Good example. Now, say your bank customer. Now, if you want to apply your market penetration strategy, what you are trying to do? You are trying to do much more deposit. You try to get more deposit from your existing customer. Try to give more loans to your existing customers, right? That is market penetration. Now let's look at it. What are the strategies or what are the tactics you're using? Now I will take an example. Take um, take a Unilever. Now say Signal. Now what Signal is telling about? Huh? Existing users to use more. What they're telling? What are the commercial using? Katat kiyanda, ratat madinda. Now earlier we used to brush your teeth in the morning. Now what they are telling? Ratat madinda. So the moment they use it, what happens? That means they use more Signal toothpaste. So earlier use only one, now you have used two. Now you see the TV advertisement they're using for market penetration strategy. Existing users to use more. Now banks also do the same thing. How banks do? If you deposit so much of money, you give a gift, maybe jug or something. Yes, children's will do, no? Our children's account. Then if you have a deposit so much of money, they give you a bicycle or something like that. Bag, like mugs like that, caps, things like. The more you deposit, they give you some gift. And also some banks are having progressive accounts. That means if you deposit so much of money, so you intercede this, say 3%. If you deposit 1 lakh, so then you get 4%. Like that, you have a progressive accounts like commercial bank. All banks in Sri Lanka you are using. So that means the market penetration strategy is not a new thing. All banks are used. All consumer companies are using market penetration strategy, right? I think you understood. So that's the one way you can use, ask existing users to use more. Existing users to use more. Market penetration strategy also you can use it for non-users. Now say for an example, right? Now again I'm just take as an example from Unilever, the toothpaste, right? Can you remember they have a mobile vans going called Sinhaboveva something. They give some pre-samples sometimes. But non-users to use, the people who use other than their toothpaste, they may use some variety or Anguro toothpaste, Danta Mukta, that tooth powder and things like that. So they want to convert those people to use toothpaste within their existing market. Now think about banks. Now say you are a branch manager. So you know your branch catchment area, right? Okay. So like electrode. Now our politicians know very well this road, how many UMPs, how many SLPs, how many port tours and things like that. Likewise, you as a bank, in your branch catchment area, so you know the roads. So anybody can tell me how many of you know this road we have in accounts of like that. So there are enough people in your branch locality or catchment area who may not have a branch account of your account, your branch, your bank. So that is, they are the non-account holders of your bank. So what you do? You go house to house campaign. You use techniques, no, and you try to open accounts. Right? So that is market penetration. Ask non-users to use your product, or ask non-account holders to open account for your bank. Market penetration strategy. Third strategy under market penetration, main strategy, the sub-strategy, we call them as like this. There are some competitors, customers who are in your area. They may use other banks. So what you are trying to do? You are trying to convert your competitors into your bank. For that, what you do? You give some higher interest rate, undercutting, no? In the copy bank, will give a little high interest rate. So are we using these techniques to expand my business? Yes. So that is a market penetration strategy. That is why Unilever also doing something like that. Huh? They give you some benefits. They put bundle pricing around toothpaste, brush, packages, right? So that is a market penetration strategy. So therefore, banks also using market penetration strategies. I think you understood that part. Okay, right now. So what is the strategy? These are business expansion. Every time we are trying to improve your businesses. So banks are use these things, even though you don't know in the technical jargon, but we are using these techniques. These techniques scale, that mean, so market penetration involves getting customers to use your product more often, existing users to move, bring in your competitors into your bank, and find people who are in your vicinity or in your catchment area not having an account to come and open branches. This is how you can use market penetration strategy for improve your business, right? Okay, so let's look at it now. Under what circumstances you can really use, right? And remember, suppose what for when you're using your market penetration strategy and the tactics. So that is what you call marketing mix element. That is product, price, promotion, people, place. All things we are heavily used to achieve our market penetration strategy. Right? We are undercutting, give high interest rate. That is price element. Provide a better service, people factor. Right? Promotion, house to house, TV, radio, all we call another marketing mix technique or tactic you are using to achieve my market penetration. Right? Okay, I think you understood now. The first strategy the bank can be used to improve our business or expand our business simply is called a intensive growth strategy or consolidation strategy, what you call market penetration. Right. I hope you understood. So just give me a feedback whether you understood what is a market penetration strategy. Right? Any feedback from me, from some of you all who listen to me, because I then I can continue. Since you are not in front of me, I can't see your faces and things. Only I can. Right. Okay. Right now. Okay. Right now we move into the second strategy. Right. Second strategy we call. Another strategy comes under again the intensive growth strategy category or consolidation category. category, what you call market development. Now, earlier, what we use, existing customers, use of existing services to expand my business. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to expand my market, but still I'm using my existing products, same services, but I'm going to expand my business coverage, business area, right? To go for new locations, right? That is why we are open branches. Why for otherwise? You think that suppose a guy from Panadura, he want to come and do the businesses in Colombo branch? No, I mean, traveling cost, all headache for them. So therefore, so that we can't accept that Panadura customers to come to Colombo and open branches unless otherwise you give a huge added advantage. Otherwise, they won't come. So one way you can improve business, look at new market. That is why people are going abroad, do business abroad. Why? To expand, you collect new market for that, right? Market development, another intensive growth strategy. So how can you do that? The things you can do that is basically go for open up new branches. Suppose sometimes you may have excess capacity. Suppose you may have excess staff. So you can, or sometimes you get an advantage. Now, good example for market development. Can you remember we had 2000, 2007, 8, we had the war in Sri Lanka, right? So we are not in a position to operate branches in north and east. So after the war from 2007, 2008, what happened? Lot of banks go and open branches in north and east, right? Remember, right? Lot of banks. Now is too much of banks in that area. That is what you call market development. So you get a new set of customers opening up branches, right? Some people have not bank. Okay, so that is market development strategy, right? So, but remember, when you are compared with penetration strategy, market development somewhat risk, but not like penetration strategy. Why? Because penetration strategy is a less risk strategy. You don't want to spend more money because anyhow you having your products and services, your own staff, so only you improve your sales. But when you go for market development, it's a costly exercise. You want to have a branches, it's an administrative cost and operational cost involved. So therefore, the chances of being your branch become profitable branch maybe take some times. So therefore little risk, but you can improve your business through market development. Okay, so that is another strategy you can use to improve your business, which comes under intensive growth strategy, right? Okay, now the third strategy under the same, I told you there are three strategies. What are the three strategies? Market penetration, market development, product development. That is comes under concentration strategy, or we call them as intensive growth strategy. Right now, remember I think whatever the name, you name one organization, you name a bank, all these strategies are used by a bank to certain extent, right? Now the product development is, now you have, now you have you, now your existing customers have fed up with your existing products. Now they want to come up with the new products. Now we also we are going to learn, I think you will learn under financial clients management. Every product is having a life cycle, right? We are having the introduction, we have the development, and then going introduction, then growth, and once it's come to maturity, and then comes down. That is decline. Now you see sunlight, whatever, right? Sunlight, how long we can see, the product is again going down. Once the product is come to maturity stage, it's going to come down. Then what Unilever is doing? They relaunched the product. Then sunlight, now a Suvandaki. Then sunlight, now a moon. Now you see, think about the sunlight. We had with only yellow sunlight earlier, no? Then we have a, white sunlight. Then we have a lemon. Then you have a jasmine. Right now, the present one is a jasmine. You see, keep on adding value, relaunch the product. Right now, the banks also need to do the same thing. Now, every bank is having some existing savings loan products. Now they also come up with the new strategies. Now these days, what they are doing, they cover packaging, loan product, housing loan. Name one anybody from Bank of Ceylon. They come up with the Diri Dari or something, no? So then the People's Bank also come up with a new campaign for loan product. So what they have done, they have changed the products names. They developed the some features of the products. Right now, why we need to develop product? So we learn new product development, process of new product development, idea generation, and these things you need to recall from your IBF level, right? Right? What are the things? Can remember the new product development stages? First, idea generation, idea screening, concept testing, product launch, like that. So every time you need to come, because human requirements are changing, right? Market need new product. Some markets are saturated, right? Then you have a marketing capabilities. The banks also come up with adding new features. Now, say for housing loan, good example for housing loan. Now, banks, we usually took how many days or to get a housing loan? Maybe it took 1 month, 2 months, right? Now, what they are telling? Now, the king Sumana, the king Nivasana, right? What they are doing now? They have changed the housing loan, the process of housing. That is product development. So they want to give quickly as possible loans to the customers. Of course, depend on your credit worthiness, those C, 6 factors, 5 Cs, and Camprey model, and also you need to look at it. But within this framework, you're going to execute your loan very quickly. That is product development. So that is what you call now good example. Think about on the spot of selling what they have done it. They have changed. They developed the product. They have changed their process. That is why they overtaken the Sri Lanka insurance accidents on the spot. They introduced to the market. They have changed. Banks also did it. Now banks are offering housing loan, personal loan within few days. They have changed the process element in the marketing, right? So that is thereby you will increase your businesses. So another business expansion strategy. That is what you call product development, right? Now, what product developments try to do? Try to catering to existing market, changing your existing products, existing deposits, existing loans products. They come up with the new features, thereby changing. But these are when you're compared with um, other three methods comes under the development, comes under the concentration or the intensive growth strategy, and this is somewhat intensive growth strategy. This is little bit risky because it is estimated the new products are fail. That's due to various reasons. Now, say for an example, very famous case is you are introduced at the wrong time. Say when we have a very cool and rainy days, when we are going to introduce simply what you call ice cream is no point, right? So you need to, the product fail not because of the product bad, maybe due to the timing is wrong. May another one, sometime maybe the product launch may not what customers want. That means your research problem. So what you have found from the market is not the exact product. That is R&D problems, right? And the environment is keep on changing. You need to change your products as well. Okay, so remember, when you're compared with market penetration, when you're compared with market development, and the product development is very costly. Okay, remember that, very costly. So now we have just completed the three type of intensive growth. That is what you call intensive growth strategy, or sometimes we call concentration strategy. Now think about whether your bank are using this. Simply add. So you will definitely address this issue, but you need to know what is the technical, the theoretical background for these strategies, right? Okay, so what are the three strategies we have just completed? Comes under concentration or the intensive growth strategy, or three business expansion strategy. Very simple business expansion strategies: market penetration, market development, productivity. I hope you understood. There won't be any problem. If you have any problem, just uh, just uh, just tell me. I will repeat it again. Right? I need your feedback to continue from the next set of strategies I'm going to explain to you under business expansion. Right? Okay, you understood. So anybody can tell any what you think about. You understood clearly. All students may be understood. Right? I need your chat. Right? Chat box. You are not talk, no. You are never unmute your mic and tell, no. At least put me a yes. Okay, right. So because otherwise no point if I'm just lecturing, right? So I need your feedback. um, then only I can proceed from this point. Okay, right. Let's look at it now. The second, right. Okay, so we now moving to the next strategy, right? So you see, these strategies are used by almost everybody, right? Okay, let's look at it. The next set of strategy, what we are going to discuss, is called integration strategy. The first one is what? Concentration strategy or intensive growth strategy. And second type of strategy we call integration or integrative growth strategies. All are growth strategies. Growth strategies mean expansion strategies, right? Okay, right. The examiner asks from you, list down some expansion strategies. So remember, what's the answer? Right, you go to the first tube, right? First box. What is that? Concentration, or sometimes we can call integrative growth strategies, right? Intensive growth strategies or concentration strategies. Second one, integration strategy, diversification, internationalization, and cooperation, right? Okay, now let's look at it. What are these integrative growth strategies? Right now, you have to be very simply think. Now, these strategies are all, if you cannot improve your business catering to existing customers using the existing product, it's not facilitate to improve your product. So then you may going for integrative growth strategies, right? Combining one or more operations of the business with no change in the customer group is called expansion through integration. Now I will once I explain to you, I think you can easily understand, right? Okay, first we look at it. There are two types of integrative growth strategies. Then we call them as growth strategies that allow a company to expand within the industry. Within the industry, you are not going to change your industry within the industry. Now, there are two types of integrative strategies. One is vertical or horizontal. Now, let's look at it one by one. What is vertical integration? Vertical, so integration strategies can be divided into two: vertical integrations and horizontal integration. Now let's look at it. What is vertical integration? What is vertical integration? Used by businesses, or for that matter for banks, to improve your business, expand your business, right? Now, just look at it, what he's talking about. What is vertical integration? Now, the moment now remember, the moment you take integrations, you are taking merging or acquisition. I will explain to you what is merging and acquisition later on, right? In the same distribution or suppliers, right? Now, say for an example, your organization, businesses, for example, your organization business depend on inputs, the raw materials, right? Okay, now let's look at it very simply, very carefully. Just listen to me. Your organization is purely depend on raw materials provided by suppliers. Then only you can produce your output. But can you remember the value chain? Inbound logistics, that is value chain provided by the supplier. Can you remember we discussed Michael Porter's bargaining power of suppliers? So you are dependent on raw material from supplier. Then you manufacture, you use your input, converted to output, and you are trying to sell your product through your distribution network. That also belongs to someone. What you do, you take, process, and distribute. Therefore, the supplier and the distributors are two parties. You are just doing only processing, input into final output. Right? Right. Clear? Understood? And then you look at it. What is vertical integration? In relating to company's expansion strategy, it is an arrangement in which the supply chain of a company is owned by that company and have the controls over both supplier and the distributor. So now you having another business area, not only manufacturing, but suppliers business as well as your distribution. So that is what we collectively call them as vertical integration. Okay, this is one way you can improve business. Earlier, you are not into the supplier side. Now you are enter into the suppliers business. So you take care about your suppliers. Earlier, you depend on someone else. And also distribution, also you depend on someone else. Now you take care about the distribution. Thereby you improve your businesses, go into the two different areas. That is vertical integration. Clear? Take over your distributor or supplier. So thereby you can increase the power in the marketplace. You don't want to depend on the third party to give you a raw material. You don't want to depend on your distributor to distribute your product. Now you have the control of both input, I mean the supplier, as well as the distributor. That is what you call vertical integration. So that is a strategy you can use. I hope you understood what you mean by a vertical integration. In fact, this is an exam question I gave you. So they ask, what is vertical integration in relation to a company expansion strategy? Right? Okay. Now we understood what you mean by. And remember, vertical integrations is an expansion strategy or entering into the new business area. What are the business area? Supplies as well as. Now, say for an example, right? Now think about Cargill's Food City example, right? Cargill's Food City. Now, what Cargill's is doing? Cargill's take the raw materials, so be the selling item from organization and sell it their own network outlets. So distribution is belong to them, but suppliers not belong to them. Therefore, if the Cargills are not getting the good quality inputs to sell it, make use of their distribution, they have a problem. So therefore, what they try to do, they have tried to develop their own companies, own states. So that is what we call backward integration. They are going to take, because they are already having the distribution network, their retail network. Distribution is good, but they are lacking raw material suppliers. So they take care about the suppliers. That is called backward integrations. Backward integration. Now, say for an example, that is what you call backward integration. Now, say for an example, for printing company, for example, printing company, what they want? What they want? They want papers. If they not have the papers, how can do the printing works? Then the printing company go and acquire the paper company, and it's backward integration. It is backward integration. Understood? It is backward integration. And sometimes the integrations, vertical integrations can be take place only forward integration. That means you are taking only the distributor. You have produced everything, but you don't have distributors to distribute your product. So then, what is the point? So you're going to take over some distributors into your businesses. So that is what you call, right, forward integrations. That is what you call forward integration. Right? Understood? Right. So therefore, the vertical integration can be divided into two. One is forward integration and a backward integration. Now, examiner can be asked from you, in your question paper, there is a one question they will ask you to compare and contrast. Right? So one question may be like this: forward integration versus backward integration. Right? So forward integrations and backward integration is a byproduct of vertical integration. Right? Vertical integrations mean what? It is an arrangement, a strategy is used by an organization or company to gain control over its suppliers as well as distributors. That is vertical integration. Vertical integration further divided into two: forward integrations and backward integration. Backward integration means you take control over supplier. That is backward. You take control over distributor. We call forward. Now I think you understood what is vertical integration. It between take over the control of both supplier and a distributor, but further define forward integration. Only you take the distributor. Backward integration, you only take the supplier. Right? Okay. So I think you understood the word integration strategies. Okay. Right. And there's another type of integration. Right. Now we learn two. What is that? Suppose if you have a problem with supplier, you're going to take over. That is backward. Forward, if you have a problem with distributing your product, you take that, integrate that, we call forward integration. Sometimes you come across with your competitors. Sometimes you have a problem with your competitors. Because competitors have a problem. It's not facilitate for you to expand your business. Then what you are going to do? You are going to take over your competitors. And that is what you call horizontal integration. That means you take your competitors. Now, can you give an example? Now, I don't know whether you can remember all these things, very old stories. In Sri Lanka, we had Ceylon Tobacco Company. Only company manufactures cigarettes. Right, in Sri Lanka, they are having a monopoly situation. So those days, in fact, we also learn from all this. We are learned from my previous lectures, right? And we had Lucky 7 cigarette company. There's a cigarette company called Lucky 7. So why is Ceylon Tobacco Company taken over that company? Because they are going to be a problem for my competitors. So what they try to do, they bought the competitors. And that if two companies in the same industry with the similar product lines are merged or acquired, we call them as horizontal integration. Right? This is another way you can take your competitors also. Right? Those are we call integrations. What that integration we call? Horizontal integration. Right? Clear? Now we have learned two types of major expansion strategy. One is we call them as intensive growth strategy. Other one we call them as integrative growth strategies. So sometimes we call them as integration strategies. So integration strategies, therefore, again, I'm just going back, we call them as whether you're taking your distributor or um, supplier, we call vertical integration. That vertical integration further divided into two: forward integrations, thereby you have taken response, take care about your distributor, and if you have a problem with the backward integrator, so the supplier, so you go for this, because your business sometimes depend on your input person. So we have to do something. So that is what you call vertical integration, or sometimes you take over your competitor, directly impact you, we call horizontal integration. Right? Now, under that also you have a three type of strategies: vertical integration, and horizontal, the vertical divided into two, backward and forward and horizontal. Okay, right. Okay, now in your handout there is a separate slide. Please cut that slide. Please cut that. If we are that's just erroneously printed here, delete that one, right? Cut that part. That is integrative growth strategies that cut down the slide. Now let's look at it. What are the benefits of these integration strategies? What are the benefits of these integration strategies for organization, right? And integration strategies always have a benefit in the economics of combined operations and economics of internal controls. Easy. Uh, so then moving to some uh, supply assurance of supply and demand, right? Okay, both we can better ability to differentiate. There are so many advantages of integration. So just go through and you will easily understood what are the benefits of integration strategies, right? Okay, integration strategies. Then also remember, integration strategies also costly. It's not so thick, right? Because once you're going to take over one company, mean one organization, mean is to improve your fixed cost, right? So I mean, now you have to look after another area. It's a burden for you. You cannot concentrate only on your core business, that is manufacturing. But now you need to look at it, your suppliers as well as your distributors. Because why? You're going to take over these things. Is some sort of a burden for that, you are, right? So sometimes you need different managerial requirement whereby you expand your business. Now you have a different set of business. Now there are suppliers business. Now say X company limited. Now we have X manufacturing company, X channel, delivery channel company or something, and this is distributing company. So extra burn, extra money, manager requirement. So all are some of the cost factors. There are some positive factors of integration strategy, and there are negative side of the cost aspects. But both integrations are basically considered as expansion strategy. Okay, so I think you understood the two main strategies. Right. Now we are going to okay. I'm just again going back to the with you all, you whether you I need to check whether you understood the integration strategy, or if you feel it you want to get clear certain areas, I can explain to you, because it's very important thing. Otherwise no point in going to the other areas without not understanding. Okay, so just please please send me some feedback from your end whether you understood or not. I remember I told you next week I'm going to give you all the questions came on this area, right? uh, Please, any feedback me whether you understood properly the integration strategies, right? Any feedback from your please? Any chat message? I need to process from now from go for the next set of strategy, right? That mean you not understood, or I right? Okay, right. So right, thank you. Okay, now we moving to the next set of strategies, what you call diversification strategies. Right now, diversification. Now, what do you mean by diversify? Vividangikaranaya. right? Okay, so we want to go for new business areas, right? For that, we are going for diversification strategies. Now, sometimes, often, business often use diversification strategy for many reasons, right? One factor, we want to reduce your risk. Suppose if you have a full saturated business market, so you can further develop your businesses, then what to do? You may go for diversifications, your strategy. That means when they have exalted opportunities within their present industry. Now, say for an example, bags. Now you feel it, how many Sri Lanka we have enough bags, no? Right? We have around altogether around 24 bags, and then we have altogether around 39 finance companies, full of. You want to improve your business. Now you may go for bank insurance, something little different business. That is diversification. Now you slowly move into the diversification. You move into the insurance business. That is diversification strategy, right? Okay. Now say Dialog, for example. What they're doing now, they are slowly moving to the banking business. Fintech companies, technological companies are now moving other businesses area. But it's very risky. Remember, diversification is because you are going for a totally new business. That is what you call diversification, but that also a growth strategy. So investing in product or businesses that are different from a company's own product, but you can diversify into two ways. One is somewhat related. Now, say for an example, bank going for bank insurance business, somewhat related. No, they come a finance business. Ne? හිතන්නකෝ bank cannot raise or other. Bank is going to come up with films or something else. That is what unrelated. But you can go. So that is unrelated. That is called conglomerate or concentric. So remember, so therefore the diversification strategies can be divided into two. One, the organizations going for something related businesses, what they're doing, like bank is going for insurance, something related, or sometimes maybe unrelated. Now there's a danger. Now, say for an example, what happened to Selinko? Kotalavala. So they tried to diversify related and unrelated. They went into the what happened ultimately? Collapse. They have insurers, they have finance, they have banks, they have education, they have what else? Everything. Right? That is what you call unrelated. So, but still you can go. Remember, you can go. So, therefore, the diversification growth strategies mean you can expand your business for somewhat related area or maybe not at all related areas. Based on that, so diversification strategies therefore can be divided into two. That's called concentric diversification or related diversification, or sometimes we call them as a conglomerate diversification, unrelated. Right? Those are the two type of diversification. Right? Okay. Now, so you may have sometimes you may confused with integrations and diversification. Now remember, integrations mean you're going to take over. Diversifications mean you're going to do the business. You start the business, right? That's the difference. You need to understand. A lot of students get confused between diversification and integration. Diversification means you're going to do the business, right? Integration, you're going to take over the business, right? Okay. Now let's look at it. The two type of diversification. So what are the type of diversification strategies we are going to learn is what you call concentric, or sometimes we call related diversification, or conglomerate diversification, that is unrelated diversification. Right. Now let's look at some example of this. And again, remember, uh, concentric diversification, you can further divide it into two, what you call synergistic diversification and horizontal diversification. Right now, so once I completed everything, we'll have a tree chart, right? Strategies, 5 type of strategies, how these strategies are divided like that, right? Then you will easy to remember. Okay, diversification strategies. That means, suppose if you don't have a basically opportunity within your same business, you may look at for diversify your businesses. So that is what you call concentric diversification, which are related, sometimes it's not related. So just look at it. The two type of side conglomerate. So likewise, again, the next slide, please erase this one. So I have given you, don't look at it this. So we that is, I have put it erroneously on that, and just delete that slide. Okay, just delete that slide, and now we are going to look at it. The next one, that is what you call concentric diversification, right? Okay. Now under concentric diversification, there are two types we call synergistics. Now say, look at it. Same business, same business. Now say for an example, a normal noodles manufacturer, like Harishchandra, for example, will take, right? Normal noodles guy is a famous Harishchandra, right? There may be other noodles like normal noodles. Now that particular manufacturer who going to produce instant noodles like Maggie, like Stella. So what is that? Same product but synergistic, something related. That is what you call synergistic diversification growth strategy. It's a concentric diversification. Okay, understood now what is concentric diversification, right? A guy who may going for something related is called concentric, as I told you, right? Okay, right? Bank is going for insurance, concentric diversification, something related within the same technological way, they're going to improve. That is what you call concentric diversification. Then look at it, the another one we call, right, directly complementary, technologically compatible with the company's product, right? Noodles, both are noodles, but suppose the Unilever is going to produce normal noodles, now they are in instant, but they can come up with normal noodles. But Harishchandra, for example, they never use instant noodles. They are using normal noodles, no? අර දික කෑලි තියෙන්නේ ඒවා. Right? එයා ගියොත් එහෙම instant හදන්න, like Maggie. That is concentric diversification. Another business area, but the same like, but little different. That is what you call synergistic diversification. Comes under concentric, right? The next one we call horizontal, right? Horizontal. Now, say for an example, they may go for growth strategy that refer the development into the activities that are competitive but somewhat complementary. They are related. Remember the related. Now I think don't get confused. What is concentric diversification? We discussed related diversification. There are something related to you, right? Noodles instant synergistic, but sometimes concentric diversification. Now let's look at it some example of this. Now say for an example, taking over competitor can have obvious benefits. Now say for an example, competitor may have advantage geographical coverage. Now one way you can go for taking the competitor products. You also going to produce the competitor's product. Or may use, for example, a manufacturer of household vacuum cleaner. Now he is going to use commercial cleaner. Now say for an example, the guy who produced only domestic sewing washing machines now is going to use for industrial sewing machine, washing machine. Complementary products, somewhat related. Another example, think about the butter manufacturer. So they go in for skim milk. Right. Right? Available. Take for example, available milk, available yogurt. Somewhat similar. Right? So that is you go for, we call them as concentric but horizontal diversification. Right? Clear? Concentric, those are what you call somewhat related. So related mean concentric diversification can be further divided into two. That is what you call synergistic and horizontal. Okay, right. Then the next one we are going to look at it, unrelated diversifications. Right now, there's Selinco going for diabetes section. This in Sri Lanka we had it. That is conglomerate diversification. Mean we are going for a totally different segmentation. Now, say for an example, EAP addressing. For an example, EAP addressing famous for what? Right? They have addressing Poland brokers, Ukaskaru, right? Okay. Then Swarna Mahal. What's that? Somewhat related, no? Ateni ugas ganno, ratarang if you say Swarna Mahal and ugas karu tikak saman. But think about EAP has gone for banking and conglomerate, unrelated diversification. Right, totally different business. That remember, those are very high risky strategies. Unrelated diversification. I think you understood now what you mean by diversification. So therefore, the diversification can be, what are the diversification strategies? May be related, unrelated. Related can be two types. One is synergistic and other one is holistic. We call them as horizontal. And then sometimes can go for unrelated diversification. We call them as a conglomerate. Right? These are very risky business. Okay, so we stop today from this point. I hope you understood. Please read the notes. Please read the notes. Then I will explain to you more other balances. And it's very interesting. And I hope you understood what we have explained to you. Right. We'll stop. Any questions? Final things with 12:30. Any questions you need to clarify under this? Please go through your notes, right? Any questions? Shashanka, Shashika, Shashika. Any questions, Shashika? Or Sachintra? Or Leonie, Gayomi? So you are my normal students, right? Okay. No feedback? Yes or no? Right. Okay. So we'll see you on next Saturday. We'll continue the balance strategies. Please go through your handouts, right? And read it and have any questions, please keep it you, right? Right. Okay. Thank you very much. So we see you on next Saturday.